Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now, what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh,
The greatest scam in history.
let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Bitcoin Brief, the show where me and QnA catch up every 2 weeks to talk about Bitcoin, privacy, open source, keeping your Bitcoin secure, and the news and software updates that matter. I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been supporting Ungovernable Misfits, and a big thank you to Foundation Devices for supporting the show. If you haven't already checked them out, go to foundation.xyz. They make cypherpunk tools for fuckwits, and anyone can use this, even me. If you have any questions or you want to reach out, feel free and I'll be happy to go through things with you. For anything super technical, I'll pass you on to Q. If you want to buy one of these incredible passports, use the code Ungovernable. It will get you a discount and it will let them know that I'm shilling. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to the Cake Wallet team. Not only are they supporting this show, but they're also bringing out some incredible features. For those of you who actually use Bitcoin and actually care about their privacy and security, Cake Wallet make it incredibly simple for you to live outside of the traditional financial system. You can use Cake Pay within the app to buy gift cards for food, petrol, and whatever else you might need day to day. You can use silent payments, and of course, you can use Monero. You can connect both Bitcoin and Monero nodes, use coin control, and this team are constantly innovating, and I'm really excited to be working with them. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me, but check them out at cakewallet.com. Download the APK or start using this today on Mac, Windows, Linux, iPhone, or of course your Android device. Enjoy the show.
Ready when you are.
We're live, mate. We're already live.
Oh, look at that ninja launch on me when I wasn't even in the room. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, pretty good. Fresh coffee on the go. The sun is shining through my window.
Afternoon rip for once.
Yeah, it's very different. And I went and trained first thing in the morning. So at least I feel like I've achieved something when we're speaking, which is quite nice.
Pre or post breakfast?
Oh yeah, pre-breakfast. I've literally only just eaten. So I do the fasting thing, get in there with just a black coffee, absolutely murdered my legs for an hour, and then sat in the sauna for like 15 minutes and then came back.
Nice. Starting the day off right.
Yeah. What about you? You been a lazy cunt or have you been training?
No, it's been going good at the moment. Yeah, training's been pretty on point. I've actually started running once a week. Yeah, which 2024 and beyond Q would have also said that exact same noise if I'd even uttered the word running. But I don't know, I just didn't want to become a bit of a one-trick pony really and just have some semi-decent carbs. So I thought I probably should be able to run 5K in a semi-decent time at the age of that I am. I've never been a runner. I guess in school I used to like compete for
cross country.
No, God, no. Complete opposite. The maximum I'd do is 200 meters. Up until recent months, the concept of doing a 5K made me shudder. But weirdly, like I've got over that initial shock of like using my legs in a different way and not being able to walk for a week. Got over that bit, and I'm actually kind of enjoying it now. And I'm a big stats nerd.
I can imagine you tracking it,
my times, and they're coming down each week, and that keeps me coming back for more the next week. So it's been quite enjoyable. I'm just trying to balance it though, because I've got, obviously I want to stick in the gym, and I've got other hobbies that involve using my body that I don't want to just screw myself out just for the sake of trying to have a good 5K time. So just trying to balance it really, but it's been pretty good fun actually. And, it's quite addicting to see the times coming down.
Yeah, I think running is gay. Unless you're running away
It's definitely
from
gay.
police or some sort of major issue, it's quite gay. And I think it just fucks your knees up too much for my liking. If you are a runner, you are gay. That's as simple as that.
Nice to get the endorphins pumping, but I agree. It's definitely gay, 100%.
Swimming's a better option if you have access to a pool.
That's objectively more gay. You have to wear Speedos.
You don't have to wear Speedos. You
If
can
you want
just
to swim fast.
No, I swim fast anyway. Just wear like normal sized, not massive shorts, just normal sized shorts, and then you can really burn yourself out especially if you have those swimming pods. You know, the ones where they like blow, like the jets where they blow water at you.
Swimming pods. Yeah,
so you can go to like 4 or 5 foot by 10 foot pods of water, like little pools, and they have like a remote at one end, and then they have a jet at the other end, a really powerful jet. And you can program how much current you swim against.
It's a water treadmill, essentially.
Kind of, but yeah, I mean, like if you go on the good ones, it's like swimming in a riptide. If you swim for 30, 40 seconds, you are absolutely fucked. It's like doing sprints against like the wave, basically, and it's fucking hard. So you can do like, 30, 40 seconds on, 10, 20 seconds off. You can do like sprint training with it, and it's really fucking good.
Tell us in the comments, please, listeners, which is more gay, swimming or running?
Definitely running.
I've had a certain someone in my DMs repeatedly, many times a day, every day for the past 2 weeks.
Are they Asian?
I don't think he's Asian.
Okay.
He's like a very excitable little puppy.
Is it like an excitable Jack Russell type that's sort of like a bit mangy and mangly, but also kind of lovable as well? Very yappy.
Yeah, imagine that, but then you give it like the biggest dose of crack possible. So yeah, we're going to see Ben Gunn next week. Looking forward to meeting up in person once again. It was Amsterdam 23, was it, the last time we were all together?
Was it 23? Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, it wasn't last year. So yeah, we're going down to his new place, which if you're a proper ungovernable listener, you'll already know all about because he did a podcast with Max a couple of weeks ago to explain all the details. But we're going down to have a look at what he's been up to and check that he's not just full of shit, essentially. We're looking forward to that.
So he's been pestering you and yapping in your ear.
Oh mate, he goes on at me more than my wife does.
Yeah, same. Yeah, unbelievable character. What's the stuff? It's not Ritalin. What's the other stuff that people?
Yeah, it is Ritalin. Yeah, it's like ADHD meds, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's another one that's not called Ritalin that they use in the States.
Whatever it is, he's on it. Oh, Adderall.
Adderall. Yeah, there was a stage in my life where I was not so stable, and I had a girlfriend who was a fucking lunatic, and we used to snort Adderall throughout the day.
Fucking.
I know. Just went through like a bit of a phase, and it fucking gets you proper wired. That's what it reminds me of with Ben Gunn. Just having a cup of tea with him is like that.
Oh God, yeah. Looking forward to seeing him in person anyway next week. That should be a bit of fun, and we're going to record live as well, aren't we?
We're going to record live. Obviously, he'll be there. I think Black Coffee might be there as well, so we might rope him in as well. Go and have a look at the land. He's a lunatic, but he's not talking shit. Like, he's doing great things. He's not like the lunatic that you stay away from because they're fucking mad, but they don't do good stuff. He's like the one that does great stuff and he's fucking mad, but you love him.
He's not a Craig Wright type lunatic. He's more of this might trigger some people, but like an Elon type lunatic.
He's better than Elon. He's
like
definitely
100% on the spectrum, but can actually get shit done.
Oh, he gets shit done. Yeah, for sure. We're going to go and see the new units that he's got, the massive CNC machine that he's got, the Black Coffee's setting up. You can like literally fucking cut and print houses.
That was one of the things that he texted me actually last week. He was like, do you want a house?
Yeah, I'll send you a house. Yeah, I know. Absolutely ridiculous. But it's true. Like, they can literally do that sort of stuff. You literally put a design in with CAD and he can just fucking cut anything out with laser precision. You can do it with steel, you can do it with timber, you can do it with everything. And then you got Black Coffee behind it, making sure everything works and building it. So he's got those. And yeah, these huge containers that they're starting to build out and the land to put everything on. It would be good. It'd be a good trip. once you see it, you'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Stuff's
looking
gonna happen.
forward to it. I've just had a thought. Ben and Black Coffee are like yin and yang, aren't they? You've got like the excitable, drugged up puppy, and then Mr. Stoic.
It's actually the perfect combination. Anything that he throws at him that's technically possible, he'll just work out just calmly with a cup of tea. It's brilliant to watch.
Looking forward to it. Any other business, mate, going on in life, or is that about rounded up for you?
I think that's it for me.
Couple of passport related, or foundation, should I say, related
What are
topics.
you lot up to now then?
As always, working very hard to get Prime out. Time is hurtling towards us at a rate that we didn't even think possible, and I can't believe we're saying that we're almost 6 weeks away from the end of March when we promised to be shipping these devices, so we are cranking as hard as we can. And we also, unexpectedly, absolutely did not see this coming, completely sold out of current gen passports at our US factory last week. Like you lot, you listeners, bought every single one.
Wow.
We kind of thought when Prime was announced that the sales were going to peter off for the current gen because people just want to wait for the Prime. It's been the opposite. They've skyrocketed.
I can see that.
Yeah, so to be clear, just so there's no confusion here, we're sold out at our US factory for roughly the next 3 weeks while we produce some more. We do still have stock with our European distributor, Bert, from Bitcoin Brabant, who's based in the Netherlands. So if you're going to purchase and you're within the EU, where Bert would be fulfilling all of those orders for us, then there'll be no delays whatsoever. You'll have it shipped next day as normal.
Nice.
If you're from any other part of the planet where we would traditionally ship from our US factory, there's going to be up to a 3 to 4 week delay.
So that would be UK as well then?
UK included, since Brexit. Working hard to ramp up production to get those back in stock, but kind of blindsided us a little bit, to be honest with you. We just weren't expecting them to sell at such a rate of knots. So good problem to have. Hopefully once we've built that stock back up again, we'll be able to monitor that a little bit better and not be out of stock at any point in the future. So it's good to see that the existing one hasn't been kind of bastardized by the new product coming in. And we plan to sell these side by side for the foreseeable as well. It isn't the case of one replacing the other. So they are kind of brother and sister within our product suite.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I would always have the two of them because they're just kind of slightly different use cases for me, at least. And I can see that. And then you probably, like, from bringing the new one out and people have seen that, they're probably then, it's been a bit of a marketing exercise of like, look what we've already built that's already really good. And people might not have seen it. So,
yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Bear with us kind of 3 to 4 weeks. We're working hard to get those back in stock. We're just waiting on the global supply chain to send some parts over to the factory in the US and get those built up. We did also tease something new, or a little twist on something current, should I say, that's coming after we re-up on the passport as you know and love in the usual shape and form that it takes. We're going to be doing another run. It's still a passport, still a batch 2. It just has a little bit of a twist to it. If you're listening to this thinking, maybe I should wait in case, this one's more powerful or this one has new features, that is absolutely not the case. Internals are going to be the same. Functionality is going to be identical. Form factor is going to be identical. Yeah. Just a little twist just to cater to other tastes.
I already know what it is.
I'm sure most people do. We've spoken about it many times on the podcast, so I don't want to give too much more away because I'm going to get myself into trouble, but safe to say I am very excited for this. Very excited indeed.
That will be when the new stock comes back, then we'll be able to order this.
Yeah. You'll have plenty of notice, don't worry. It's probably going to be a couple of months at least by the time we've got the parts in and produced them. I was very excited about that. It only took me nearly 4 years of internal petitioning.
I know.
But I got my way in the end. Just goes to show if you moan enough, you can get where you want in life.
That's it. Persistence pays is the phrase. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, that's it for AOB. Should we hit the news?
Yeah, let's get into it.
The Human Rights Foundation has now successfully awarded all 11 Bitcoin development bounties. So this started in 2023 when they launched like a bounty program, essentially, where they saw 11 areas within Bitcoin where they wanted to see, something was lacking or they wanted to see something built and developed. So the HRF ponied up and basically just put a bounty on each one to incentivize some devs to go and build it, basically, and build it such that they're going to get paid for it at the end. Some really cool stuff to come out of this. Bitcoin Design Guide has been open sourced. We've got serverless PayJoin, which we spoke about last week or the week before. End-to-end encrypted Nostr group chats, silent payments in a mobile wallet. More on that later. Human-readable BTC offers. That was claimed by somebody affiliated with ZEUS. Self-custodial mobile lightning addresses was claimed also by ZEUS. Mobile border wallets from friend of the show MTC and SPA.
Nice.
Easy mobile multisig by Bitcoin Keeper. Frost multisig by the Stack Wallet guys. Bit47 expansion was claimed by BlueWallet. So there's been some cool shit come out of these incentives. And yeah, I guess the news piece here is that they've successfully awarded all of them now.
Nice.
Meaning that the end products have been, or the end goals have been met by each one, such that the bounty can be released. So successful exercise. And they gave away 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Gave away like 16 or 17 Bitcoin.
Wow.
So we're not talking about chump change here, like this,
No.
significant amounts of money here. So hopefully, if they've still got some money coming in, we'd love to see them do something like this in the future and incentivize more cool stuff to be built.
MTC can eat again now. That's good to hear.
Yes, seems that way. Yeah, they got 2 Bitcoin for that one.
Wow.
Well, actually, no, sorry. That wasn't given to MTC. It was awarded to Bitcoin Tribe wallet developers. Oh, actually, that is from the guys at Bitcoin Keeper. I'm sure that's a spin-off of...
So, hold on. How does SPA and MTC get anything?
To my knowledge, no, because that bounty, the way it was worded was that we think border wallets are incredibly cool.
Yeah.
We want to see them integrated into a mobile wallet solution.
And how would you integrate that into a mobile wallet solution?
That's exactly what Bitcoin Tribe Wallet is. I admittedly, I've never tried it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's there, it's available, and you can use it.
I have to give that a go. I think it's a massively underrated project. Not that people don't know about it, but I just think of all the things that I've seen over the last few years where I'm like, that's really cool and clever, and you can get very tricky with it if things get a little bit scary out there. I think that's something that people should potentially lean into. It's very, very useful.
Absolutely. I think one of the main problems that project has had, and probably remains to this day, is it's not easy to understand.
Yeah.
So people might look at the website and think, oh, fuck, it just looks too complicated, without fully understanding what it can do for them, which I guess you could say is true of a lot of things in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Should we give a little rundown of what it is in case anyone new is listening and they're like, what the fuck is it? I don't know that I'm going to do the best job, but I'll try. It's a way you could have like a grid map of all of the, whatever it is, 2048 words out on a sheet. And then you could overlay an image or a pattern that would help you to remember or see those words. So, for example, you could have a grid as like an A4 sheet of paper, and then you have a smiley face, and that would be like I number 1, I number 2. That's 2 different words. And then the smile runs along the next however many words, like the next 10 words if it's a 12-word wallet. And then you could keep those 2 things separate. You could cross a border. You could re-download the border wallet number because they change. It depends which one you download. And then you could just overlay that smiley face when you get to your new destination, and then you could recover that wallet.
Nicely done.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does indeed. Obviously, you're explaining it to somebody who's kind of fairly familiar with
Retarded.
it.
Oh, okay.
That too. But yeah, it can be, I think this is one of those things where you have to like see it in front of you. So if everything that Max just said kind of lost you, just go to borderwallets.com and they've got a great kind of introduction to it. It's also in Sparrow as well, which I think is pretty cool.
Is it? Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the other thing, as we're talking about different ways to secure seeds, I went back through yesterday because I had a bit of time because we hadn't recorded any episodes for a few days. And I was like, I don't have any editing to do. What can I do? went back through your material on the Foundation website of the setup guides for the passport, just because I've got nothing better to do in life. I really like this backup micro SD. And when you'd first spoken to me about it, I was like, nah, that's gay. I don't like it. I don't like relying on the fact that there's something electronic, because anything that's electronic that's mine is definitely going to break. So fuck that. I don't like it. Once I went back through that video, I was like, actually, you can make multiple copies of this thing very quickly. You can have all of your, whatever you call it, BIP85, child seed stuff, account things, all saved alongside it. I was thinking it's so much better than having your seed just on a seed plate
in plain text,
or written down somewhere. Because, exactly. Then someone can see it, they can take a picture of it, whatever. That puts you at massive risk. And then, so if you don't want that, it's like, okay, well, you could maybe split the seed. And then it's like, but that's still not actually as secure. So actually, on reflection, I'm wrong. It is better to do that, but do multiple copies and have them obviously in multiple locations. And then, it's probably worth having it stamped in steel or something as well, but that to be in a very, very, very difficult to get to, fucking buried 10-foot underground somewhere, that just somewhere that you could get to if you absolutely fucking had to, the end of the world had happened and somehow all your micro SDs had gone. But other than that, it's better. And I think people should probably think about using that feature if they're using a passport.
Massively, massively underrated. Basically what you just said is exactly how I explain it to all of the concierge clients when I do the onboarding. It's like seed words are beautiful. They are the universal standard. They are what prevent you from ever being locked into a specific vendor, hardware wallet, or even a software wallet on your phone. But you write them down in plain text, so that makes them very hypersensitive piece of information. Anybody that sees them, takes a photo of them, memorizes them, steals them, can basically just go and restore your Bitcoin elsewhere. So you only want one copy of that for most people.
Yeah.
You want that really safe, really secure, and away from anybody that you don't have the maximum amount of trust in. But then you're like, okay, great. Well, what happens if something happens to that seed, or it's buried in the backyard and I get a knock on the head and I forget where I buried it? These encrypted backups allow you to be a lot more liberal with creating loads more redundancy. So you can have, 3 different SD cards, one at your parent, one at your siblings, one with a friend, safe in the knowledge that if any of those locations become compromised or those people go rogue and try to steal from you, they gain absolutely nothing because all they've got is an encrypted SD card that's entirely useless to them.
Yeah.
Because you intentionally have not given them the 20-digit backup code, the password essentially. And then on the flip side to that, you can be just as liberal with your 20-digit backup code. One with another friend, another sibling, even your iCloud account or your Google backup or something like that, or Bitwarden. Again, safe in the knowledge that if any of those locations become compromised, all that person learns is a 20-digit code that's completely useless to them because they physically need to go to your house or wherever you keep your SD card, put them together and know what to do with them. So you can have loads of redundancy from, like, you could have multiple life-changing disasters happen all at the same time and still not lose access to your Bitcoin if you deployed something like that kind of made-up scenario I just mentioned.
It's a much, much better option. I still would want the steel backups as like an absolute fucking disaster recovery. There's some sort of solar flare and it fucks with everything that's got a chip in it and it wipes everything. And so you still want that as like a backup, but they're much easier to hide. You could easily have a micro SD hidden somewhere with a friend or family member and they don't even know. So you don't even have the risk. They're easy to move around different places if you're traveling as well, because it can be in a camera, it can be whatever, it's encrypted anyway. So it's like, it's really, really good rather than trying to write some words down or do any of the stuff that people do. Yeah, I really like it. The only thing I thought was with the code, it might be worth, if someone isn't already doing it, to make like a little steel plate for the 20-digit code. Might be quite nice because you're using numbers rather than letters. Like, those mini ones that people are doing.
That could be cool, yeah.
Anyway, I digress. But I was wrong. I'll admit I was wrong.
That's fine. It's okay to be wrong every now and then. Speaking of iCloud, actually, the UK government has ordered Apple to create a backdoor for encrypted iCloud accounts worldwide.
Yeah.
Apple has received a secret order from the UK Home Secretary Office requiring the company to provide access to any user data protected by its advanced data protection for iCloud.
So secret that we know about it.
Yeah, indeed. I'm not sure who's leaked this, actually. But yeah, for those that don't know, the advanced data protection is essentially the end-to-end encrypted toggle that you can turn on for your iCloud if you're an Apple fanboy. Basically just prevents Apple from accessing any data in your iCloud drive or your password manager or whatever other shit you've got in there. And the UK is basically trying to get them to backdoor it, not just for people in the UK, but for everyone worldwide. Apple's got a pretty good track record of saying that that's not going to happen. It's unclear at the moment as to whether they're going to bend the knee here, but if history was to repeat, then they're not going to. What that would mean for Apple being able to operate in the UK in that scenario, I've got no idea. The bottom line here is that if Apple were to do this, if they were to abide by this, we wouldn't know. Like, it could already be in place because it's all just closed source software.
Yeah, my assumption has always been that it already is in place and that the rest of it's probably theatre. Like, I struggle to believe from what we know from like the Snowden case all those years ago and everything that we've seen from that, we're spied on less than we were then. I would think it would have increased exactly the same way that eradication of free speech has increased, control of money and everything else has increased. Like, everything has got worse for freedom and for privacy. And then to think one of the largest companies in the world that like half of people pretty much use hasn't been co-opted. They haven't got some dirt or blackmail or some bullshit where they have a trigger where they can say, yeah, we're going to have access to that. I just don't believe it. I use a Mac and I use it under the assumption that, like, fucking hell, if they really want me, they've got me.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair kind of way to operate. I would be saddened if that were the case. We're never going to know. But it would make the whole marketing around Apple's use of advanced data protection for iCloud even more egregious, because the way that this is marketed is that, like, even we can't see this shit. So if what you just said was true, like, they're just basically lying to your face.
Yeah, but surely, all these big corporations and governments do that over and over and over and over again. So you could only assume that that's what they're doing. And the only way that you could prevent that from happening is to use open source software that is reviewed by enough people and enough eyes on it that you know that you've got yourself covered, or you think that it's most likely you have yourself covered. Otherwise, and I'm not saying this like to have a go at people who use Apple, because I fucking use it myself. I'm not like, oh, I'm too cool for school, like, oh, I only use Fedora, Linux, and blah, 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 and build my own computers. No, I'm a retard. I use Apple. I just don't believe that they're not spying on me.
Yeah, again, good assumption to live your life by.
But not good to hear that it's being pushed that way, in case I'm wrong and it currently is happening. And the other side of it is, if they aren't currently spying on everyone and the UK government is pushing them in that direction, my guess is that Apple wins. Like, the UK still think they're big dicking, but no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. And what would everyone in London do who sat there with their soy latte, sat with their MacBook? Like, what the fuck would everyone would go, what? Hold on, you're telling we can't use Apple anymore? They'd all leave.
Yeah.
All the money would go.
Well, that's already started to happen anyway.
Certainly, yeah.
Quick update on the Tornado Cash developers. Roman Storm he's been tried in the US. He's petitioning the Supreme Court at the moment because the judge has ordered, both the defense for Storm and the prosecution to disclose their witness statements ahead of trial upon request of the government, which the defense is describing as unprecedented. So basically, he's got to give away his defense strategy, which isn't the norm, so I'm led to believe. Yeah. But in fairness, the judge has said the prosecution's got to do it too. However, Under the Federal Crime Procedure Rule 16, the defense must only provide the prosecution with the names of expert witnesses and their statements ahead of the trial if it has asked the prosecution to do the same. If the defense does not move the prosecution to disclose its expert witness, the defendant's expert witnesses may also remain undisclosed too, which I can only presume is the case here. But the judge has basically ordered them both to say, no, show your cards.
Okay.
Which the fact that he's filing for a petition to kind of veto this tells me that, his defense thinks that it would weaken his arguments in court by having to disclose it all ahead of time. And evidently they haven't asked the prosecution to do the same either. So it seems like the judge has kind of gone rogue here. Again, I'm not a US law expert, but here we go. Quick quote. In Storm's case, the prosecution asked the court to order reciprocal disclosure absent of any mesh request made by the defense. A misapplication of the law, the defense argued, pointing to Storm's right to preserve the confidentiality of his defense strategy, which the judge dismissed as, quote, gamesmanship and parlor tactics. Very strange.
That is very strange.
And a quick update on the other Tornado Cash developer, Alexey Pertsev. He's now been released from his detention ahead of trial. So he's actually, using air quotes here, free at the moment to kind of be at home and prepare for his trial properly, which I guess is good from a temporary perspective.
Yeah.
Doesn't, change the turmoil that he's going through, but at least he can be with his friends and family whilst he's kind of mounting his defense battle here. I forget where he's been tried. Yeah, he's been tried in the Netherlands, isn't he? Yeah. But at least he's home for now. Oh, quick PSA. I should have included this at the top of the show, but Robosats has migrated its domains. They will all be linked in the show notes. But the impetus for this is that the original maintainer of Robosats, which goes by Reckless Satoshi, has basically just been MIA for several months. So the community has kind of come together to say, okay, the original Onion address where the default way to access Robosats has been down. You were able to access that if you self-hosted your own front end, maybe on like a Start9 or something like that. Or you could go to one of the front ends of one of the multiple coordinators that are available as well. But this is just basically, a coming together of the community to say, okay, here is where the documents live now. Here is where, the default kind of front end Onion address is. So no change to the way it operates or anything like that, or even to any of the coordinators. It's simply just that they've kind of had to migrate away from the overall control of the initial maintainer because he's seemingly just gone off the record. Yeah, stepped away, which I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of news. Apparently there is a scammer posing as Ashigaru on Twitter and maybe on Nostra as well, just for people to be aware.
A scammer account or a scammer website?
Yeah,
or both?
scammer account, I believe. So if you just follow the links to Ashigaru in any of our shows, you'll find the correct one. But yeah, just be aware because I don't think the Ashigaru team have any social media presence, like the actual real team. So if you see someone out there with some social media presence as Ashigaru, they are scammers.
Nice. Maybe we'll get Jordan to include the link direct to their website as well so people can...
The scammers, yeah.
Yeah, as long as we get paid.
Yeah.
Mr. Milei from Argentina has been caught with his pants down shilling a meme coin.
Great guy.
Apparently he did a promotional tweet of a meme coin called Libra.
Okay.
Which subsequently rose to a $4.4 billion market cap before tumbling by 95% the following day.
Brilliant.
And you've got the president of a country tweeting about it.
That's amazing. Insider's pocket, 87 million. Milei deleted his original promotional tweet and revealed that he wasn't aware of its details. Of course you weren't.
Why would you tweet it in the first place?
Amazing. Fair enough. I like with all this stuff though, I just go, have people not learned? Like, come on, every single time. Just stop buying this stupid shit just because someone tweets it, whether they're a president of America or whether they're Milei or whoever they are. Just fucking stop it.
Little quote here: Libra, the meme coin, rose by more than 2,000% in 40 minutes following his
That's
tweet.
so good. I'd have loved to have been an insider. Like, they're cunty, and you think about it, you go like, that's really bad. Like, taking money off people who are obviously not that smart, and they're putting their money into these things, and you're then profiting, and that's really gross. But at the same time, I'm like, fucking hell, 2,000%, 45 minutes. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Not a bad racket if you can get in on it.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening and they are thinking of making some shitty meme coin with some president of a country and they're going to pump it by 2,000%, just let me know. I'll back it and so will you.
Last piece of news, ending on a positive. The Czech Republic has completely eradicated capital gains tax on Bitcoin if you hold it for more than 3 years.
More than 3? That's very good. No
that
CGT.
Cool.
I like that very much.
Yeah, pretty good. So if you're a Czech hodler, congrats.
Yeah, what a difference that makes. Like, not having the cap gains just makes this... We were talking about it last episode, weren't we? Like, how it makes it difficult to use, and a lot of people would be scared to use it because of all the issues, and you've always got to do the calculations and blah, 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 blah. But just introducing something like that would make a massive difference to any citizen there. You'll probably see some people moving there for these reasons.
Yeah, agreed. I'm sure there was an additional carve out in this ruling as well, where it was something like you don't need to report Bitcoin transactions under 4,000 of the local currency as well. I'm struggling to find
Are they
it
Euro?
now.
What are they? Czech Republic?
Do you know what? I'm embarrassed to say I don't know whether they're in the Euro or not.
I thought they were. No, they can't be, because if they were, they wouldn't probably be allowed to do it.
They might be in the EU, but I don't think they use the Euro, do they?
Yeah, maybe it's that. But then there are, like, Portugal did a no cap gains thing.
That's true.
There are other European countries that do it and then draw talent into the country. So, I don't know. And they use the Euro, Portugal, so...
Czech Republic, yeah, they've got their own currency called the koruna.
Okay.
And are they in the EU? Let's fact check ourselves live, shall we?
Yeah, I feel like they are, but maybe they don't use the currency. Christine Lagarde would be very upset.
I don't know when this... Hang on. The joys of editing.
Europe's so fucked, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're probably in no position to judge in the UK, but yeah.
No, we're fucked. I mean, I take that as an absolute given. That is, like, we're probably more fucked, but
yes,
like,
it is an EU member.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's so shit. It's sad, really, because, like, there are some great parts of Europe and really beautiful places and cultures and stuff, and you just sort of look around and you go, oh, if things are as bad as they look, and if things are as bad as they are in the UK, oof.
Indeed.
Probably buy that Bitcoin stuff, I reckon, in case it all goes bad.
Might be worth a shot.
Yeah.
Right, mate, should we hit some boosts?
Yeah.
I'll let you kick off the first one because I have zero idea how to say that name.
Po Jan Mies. That's the unpronounceable cunt, you know.
Oh, really? Well, I would agree with that judgment.
Yeah, they've changed it back. They're trying their luck again. So Po Jan Mies, the unpronounceable cunt, sent 24,300 sats.
Thank you.
With no message. Is that no message? There's no message.
Indeed. Either that or Jordan's fucked up.
Well. Do you know what? That guy, I've just got to say this. He's getting so demanding.
Oh, God.
Like, we literally press record. So last time I was recording was with Suspenser. We're mid-recording and my phone's fucking buzzing. I'm like, oh, what is this? Just check that, like, the kids are all right. Open it up and it's Jordan. Send me the file. I need the unedited file, please. I'm like, oh, fuck off. I haven't even recorded it yet. And guess what he's doing now? I've already got it. I've got these GIFs coming through of someone, like, just going, what the fuck? Why have I not got my stuff yet? Just sending it to me now as we record.
I suppose. Did we not tell him that we were recording late today?
No, I did. He's forgotten.
Okay.
It's that Canadian brain fluff. So there we are.
Expatriotic with 0.132 XMR And then we've got a /0.396 XMR. I take it he might have sent two.
Yeah, he sent it twice. He sent it while he was messaging me. And just before you read the XMR boost, I just wanted to say he has been working really hard recently on a load of guides. He's doing an Ashigaru guide and a few others. So if you haven't already checked him out, you really should do. He's doing some good work.
Yeah, the Ashigaru is in the show notes. I've already got that as a talking point later. So if you want to read that, have a scroll down.
Good.
And he said, ask XMR chat to let us put in XMR amount rather than fiat. I paid with my Monero.com wallet. Please change the name to not be a URL. Shill my blog, xpatriotic.me.
Done.
Trying to do shit and get shit done. No more fiat work. Well, hats off to you, sir. It's good to see you cranking out those guides. I have no idea what he's on about by saying please change the name to not be a URL, but...
Yeah, I don't know what he means by that, but I know what he means by he wants to be able to pay in XMR amounts, not dollar amounts. So, when when we read it, it tells us the amount in XMR.
Mm-hmm.
But when he wants to pay, it says like, how many dollars do you want to send? And
Yeah,
he
that's
doesn't
fair
want to
enough.
he doesn't want to denominate things in dollars. He wants to be like, I want to send 0.2 XMR or whatever.
But nobody knows offhand how much 0.2 XMR is.
Xpatriotic does.
How much 0.015893 Bitcoin is. Like, just put $10 on.
Xpatriotic does. He's a beautiful mind. He's like Rain Man. You can throw
He's
any
a beautiful
number at
mind,
him.
but I think he might be on the autism spectrum with Ben.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We can test him. Maybe we'll test him. Next time I speak to him, I'll just throw a random number, a 0 point, and then like 5 numbers after it, and I'll see if he gets the conversion rate right at that time, the spot price at that time.
Look forward to it.
Late stage hodl with 15,000 sats. Max saying Z in his gay American voice cracks me up every time. I was listening in the grocery store and someone looked at me as I just uncontrollably laughed for a second. Aubergine, ? Never heard of her. Seriously, I appreciate that as I've always heard eggplant and never aubergine. Also, only heard of capsicum maybe one other time. It's still a pepper here in the USA. Speaking of groceries, when you go to the store, do you push the shopping cart or buggy or just use a bus? No, use a trolley, don't you?
Trolley, yeah. None of the above.
None of the above. You use a trolley. And if you're going to get pissed, you could get trolleyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
English is a wonderful language.
It is. It is. Yeah. Do you like how I do Z now?
Z, yeah. I mean, the Americanisms have got a weird way of like worming their way into your life, haven't they? I suppose you and I are exposed to it more than the average Brit by obviously you working with John, obviously me working at a US company. Like, yeah, I put Zs everywhere now, unfortunately, or Zs, sorry.
But I actually say Z. And I think what really tipped me over the edge is when I do the foundation.xyz ad read. And then, I made that song where it was like, foundation.xyz. And then it really got into my head. And now I can't say XYZ. It has to be XYZ. I'm glad it makes you laugh.
Anon boosted with 6,666 sats. Wasn't going to boost, but then you mentioned the address checking feature of Passport, so I changed my mind. Keep it up.
Yeah.
You're very welcome, and thank you for the sats. Another one of my favourite features of Passport alongside the encrypted backups.
I wonder if they've done that boost because they didn't know it was a thing and then they tested it, or they just love it so much that they've gone, yes, I'm going to send you some sats.
Yeah. Maybe before now they've just been doing the max verification method where...
Actually physically type it out.
Yeah, they get a typewriter, they type in B, enter C, enter 1, enter Q, and then do a visual...
You'll enjoy this. I did that on Friday when I was connecting Sparrow to one of my nodes that had gone down and I fixed it again. And I manually typed it all out again.
Oh, Max.
Yeah, I know. But it worked, I got it working. So
just took 3 hours.
It just took 3 hours, yeah.
Jesus.
I know. Shadowy Badger with 5,000 sats. Awesome episode. Appreciate the free samurai call out. Why is the EFF supporting other devs but not Samurai and TDev? Perhaps once a month you guys could summarize the situation, example, upcoming court dates, etc., to help keep things at the top of the mind for everyone. There is so much noise, this matters. I totally agree with you, mate. I feel like we kind of cover things as they come up.
Yeah, anytime there's any pushback to dates or anything like that, it's we've covered everything.
Yeah, I like to think that we do. A few people have been reaching out asking for free Samurai hoodies and t-shirts. I won't go into the whole fucking story, but we've had an absolute nightmare with our printing. We no longer have access to the same quality of printing that we had previously. I refuse to drop the quality, and so while I try and find a solution, we can't sell any more t-shirts and hoodies, but anyone who wants them, they can actually reach out and we'll put them on a waiting list and all of that, because those free Samurai hoodies and t-shirts people are hungry for all the time. So sorry about that, but we are working on it as fast as we can.
Love to hear it. This one's got no name, so I think Jordan screwed up again, but it's 1,169 sats. How big of a risk is RFID leakage from hardware wallets and computers and phones for a transaction where other hardware is nearby? I'm referring to IoT devices, particularly, as well as Windows and Mac
Internet
computers.
things.
Yeah, as well as Windows and Mac computers that might be able to sniff the RF leakage from devices in the same room or nearby. Love the technical aspect of this show. I think you've just taken the technical aspect of the show to the next level, whoever you are.
I was just thinking that. I'll jump on this one, mate. I don't know.
Succinctly put, yeah. My TLDR is the same. However, I'll try and elaborate. With stuff like this, I always like to refer back to when because people love to get tinfoil hattish, don't they? Big time, and it pays to be paranoid, especially in Bitcoin. I get that, and I subscribe to that notion. But I always like to come back to how many real world exploits of this type have we seen documented. To my knowledge, I don't know of any in the time that I've been in Bitcoin. Now, obviously, that's not to say that it isn't possible or there isn't some minute risk somewhere. But would it be in the top 10 things I would worry about when it comes to practicing self-custody? Not even close.
What does RFID stand for?
Radio frequency. You're going to make me Google it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Radio frequency identification. Basically, it just means like most good hardware wallets, like Passport, they're offline. They don't have any Wi-Fi, all that sort of stuff. What he's referring to here is that if you've got a particular device that when you press a button on a hardware wallet, it will, it sends a signal down a computer chip, and that emits a very, very faint kind of electromagnetic signal of some sort. And I know I'm butchering the terminology here. I'm not an engineer, but what he's saying is, could you get devices that are able to eavesdrop on that traffic, interpret it so that they can, I don't know, if they start to see a pattern, so that they can say, oh, okay, well, we see this pattern. That's probably him entering his PIN into his hardware wallet.
Yeah.
And we can work out that it's, it might be the combination of numbers. Like, is that theoretically possible? Probably. Is it realistic? Probably not. You'd need specific equipment. You need to be close to wherever you're interacting with your hardware wallet.
There are easier ways.
You'd need to be exposed to it for a long time. And even then, like, let's say in that scenario that we think we know his PIN. You still got to go and get the device.
Well, that's it. So you can skip that whole RFID fucking having a van outside and sniffing and checking and waiting for them to put their PIN in, which they do. Yeah. I mean, literally, that you skip all of that and you go, tell me your fucking PIN, or you're going to be in so much pain. Like that, almost always people are going to go for, because it's just an unnecessary step because you've got the hardware wallet. I'd be more concerned if it was like you're not using hardware and then somehow it leaks your password and then someone can remotely access your phone or laptop somehow. I mean, this is all fucking pie in the sky stuff, but it's online, whereas your hardware wallet is offline. So even if you have that information, you have to physically have access to the thing.
Exactly.
So maybe for like software wallets, it could potentially be a risk. But yeah, I've never heard of it ever being a thing.
Right. But then you should just be using the right tool appropriately. Like, don't have your life savings on a hot wallet.
Yeah, well, loads of people would argue the other way, though. Like, so many people have argued with me, oh, yeah, it's absolutely safe and because it's sandbox and blah, blah. And I'm like, not for me. It's not for me. Not for the sake of a couple £100 of hardware, which is specifically designed for exactly this type of stuff and to be idiot proof and for checking, like we're saying, like verifying addresses and all the cool extra features it gets. It's like, if you've got your life savings on here, unless you've really not done that well in life, $200 is not going to be the vast majority of your savings.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a smaller amount of your savings, and you need it to have peace of mind. It's worth it.
Absolutely. So focus on the basics, get your backups in place, use a hardware wallet, look into passphrases and multi-sig if you're concerned about a single device, look into encrypted backups, don't tell people that you've got Bitcoin, all of the usual stuff. Like that is, all of those are much bigger foot guns than somebody using RFID leakage to work out your PIN on your hardware wallet. Like you've only got to listen to the history of this show. Like it's almost every other week at the moment that I say, oh, there's been another kidnapping in Thailand and somebody's had their fingernails broken off. Like that is, although it sounds horrifying, that is much easier to pull off than somebody doing an RFID attack on your hardware wallet.
Definitely. That's just made me think of something. When your new device comes out, you're going to have like a password manager and all that kind of stuff.
Well, sorry to cut in, the password manager won't be at launch. That won't be one of the core apps.
Fucking hell. Do you guys do no work? Absolutely ridiculous.
We've sat with our feet up at the moment.
When it comes, will you be able to encrypt micro SDs on that device? As an example, you've got your backup of your 12 or 24 words, right? You've done that on a micro SD. You've done that on the passport. You've got your 20-digit code. You've got that stamped somewhere or separate. Okay, so you've now got 2 separate locations and probably redundancy, so it's 4 separate locations. Could you, with this new device, type in your passphrase into that device and create an encrypted backup of that passphrase to be stored somewhere using the same code or a different code if you wanted? Or does it have to stay on the device?
I got to be honest, mate, you lost me there. What are we trying to back up and where are we trying to put it?
You've got your 12 or 24 words and you have a passphrase.
Okay.
You've dealt with the backup of the 12 or 24 words. It's on an encrypted micro SD card. You've got your 20-digit code, which is in separate locations. Done, right? Happy with that? Now you want to back up your passphrase. You might not want to keep it in your head because you might get your head bashed in and people will get it out of your head. So you might want it to be somewhere separate. Rather than stamping that into steel, you could either have it on this new device or you could have it on an encrypted micro SD. And what I'm asking is, with the new device, would you be able to encrypt a micro SD card with your passphrase using that device?
I don't see why not. I mean, it's just a user-provided password. So, yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to achieve that.
Because you can't do it currently, unless I'm missing something, on the current passport. You could only... Correct. Yeah. And so then to encrypt a micro SD, you'd have to use a separate device, and that would have to be a phone or a laptop.
Yeah.
They're connected to the internet, and then that has its own issues and blah, 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 blah. So I was just thinking, like, that might be a cool way to store a passphrase, which currently is a little bit more technically... There are, like, questions around it. I would be worried to do it because I wouldn't be comfortable using my fucking MacBook that's probably being spied on.
Right. Yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. Obviously, we'd need to kind of have a bit more of an offline conversation to iron out the details to make sure I fully understand it, but anything's possible with enough dev hours.
Okay. Pies with 420 sats. V4V, mushroom, strong arm, you British fucks, ! America equals gold, #1. UK, England equals shit emoji. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Pies. You missed one out, so I'll go back and do the last one. Wartime, 333 sats. This is referencing our conversation on the last show, talking about my idea. Well, I say my idea, something that popped into my head. I'm not saying it was a unique idea. Somebody's probably thought of it before, about locally hosted AI chain analysis.
Yeah. I liked that.
Wartime said Blitz Wallet has a ChatGPT built in, and you can pay for the API use per query with Bitcoin. It is made by one of the Lake Satoshi crew named Blake. It's the only way I will use ChatGPT, and it's super convenient. I just whip out my phone, pull out the wallet, and ask a question, and it's done. That's pretty neat.
That is cool. And we're big fans of Lake Satoshi. So, Blake, if you're listening, or Wartime, if you listen to this, give him a nudge and get him to maybe jump on a call with me or something. We can record like a little bit of info on it, and we can post that out. I think that's cool.
Absolutely. Finally, thank you to all of the streamers. As always, we love seeing your 1 and 2 sats stream in. Special mentions for Cass Peeland, Voltbyte, We All Eat, and Pleb2 Polymath. Love to see
very much.
The amount of people doing the streaming by minute rising. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Very nice. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, mate. Big long list of updates and releases for today's show. Shall we jump into it? I won't go into too much detail because we'll be here all day, but there's some cool stuff here. First on the list, Proton Wallet is now available to all users on Android, iOS, and in the web. So this obviously is Proton, the email client and Drive and whatnot. Their suite is ever growing. They've had a wallet in beta for what feels like quite a long time now, maybe 6 months or so. Well, it's now freely available to anyone who is a Proton Wallet user.
Presumably now when you create the wallet, they're not using the same algorithm, whatever they were before, because there was some sort of bug in that.
That's right, yes. I presume they fixed that. That was some time ago, but yeah. Well, I hope they fixed that.
You'd hope so.
So yeah, it's now available to anybody who's basically just wants to get access to it. Obviously, you've got to be a Proton account holder, but you can get one of those for free. Proton's got a very large user base, so this is pretty cool. It's a fairly simplistic wallet. Does all of the basics, and I believe it's built on top of BDK, which is the open source framework that we use for Envoy as well. And it powers many other wallets. So just your standard, simple, self-custodial Bitcoin wallet. All users' transactions, notes, and messages are end-to-end encrypted, as you would expect from a company like Proton. And I guess the kind of unique selling point here is that you can send Bitcoin via email. Obviously, Proton is predominantly an email provider, so you can then send Bitcoin directly to any of your recipients just using their email address. So a little bit like kind of lightning address. I believe as well, if they don't have, like if you send it to somebody who's not a Proton user, it will email them a link to go and claim the funds or something like that. But again, I haven't tested that feature.
It's one of those features that, like, to us, we just like, I don't care. We wouldn't use it, but to the masses and like with their massive user base, it might be nice because it's kind of what they're used to in a way. It's like, oh yeah, I can just send this thing by email and here's a link, and I can see that people might like that. Yeah,
definitely. And if you want to check it out, just go to wallet.proton.me.
Nice.
Lots of hype about this one last week. Obscura VPN has finally been released. Well, I say it's been released. It's been released on Mac OS only currently. Have you heard much about this one before I go into
I have.
detail?
In loads and loads of Telegram groups that I'm in, I keep seeing it pop up. I've done no research into it at all. But I've seen it talked about very heavily.
Yeah, so Obscura is I'll use the quote here. This is their marketing speak. The first provably private VPN that can't log your network activity by design. And it also outsmarts network filters for enhanced censorship resistance. Currently available on Mac OS with support for other platforms coming soon. So this is built by a guy called Carl Dong. Try not to laugh. That's probably only going to be funny to the UK audience, I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably.
Who is a Bitcoin Core contributor, amongst many other things, I believe. The difference here, I guess, between kind of Mullvad and Proton, etc., who are the widely used kind of privacy-preserving VPNs, is that Obscura uses like a 2-hop method, basically. So what happens is Obscura will encrypt your traffic and then bounce it through a Mulvad server as a secondary hop.
So it's like a bit like a onion routing kind of
Yeah. Apparently there's a feature very similar to this in the Tor browser. I think it's called like one hop routing or something like that. This is a similar thing, but basically that just doesn't use Tor. So the idea here is that you've got two independent parties that you know, unless they collude, they can't really kind of de-anonymize you. So the Obscura servers can't decrypt the WireGuard packets as they're encrypted with the Mulvad server's WireGuard public key, and that's a bit in the weeds, really. But basically, they're playing each other off against one another. So Mulvad is like the final hop out to the internet, but they don't know who you are because you don't have, you know, a Mulvad account. It's just your Obscura is routing through them. So you're kind of like separating the secrets, so to speak. And of course, you can pay for it in Bitcoin via on-chain or Lightning as well.
Okay. Any drawbacks here? Like, is there any reason after you've looked into it that you would say, I'll just stick to using Mulvad? Or would you go, no, it would make more sense now to use this?
Not really any drawbacks. I guess just it's only on Mac OS at the moment. So I haven't actually tried it. Yeah.
Okay.
They are planning on doing an app, but it's not available yet. So I haven't tried it because I don't really want to pay $6 a month to use it on a Mac that I barely use.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll wait and then join in then.
Fair enough.
Mr. Craig Rowe's back to being prolific again. 3 releases since we last recorded.
Wow.
2.1.0, 2.1.1, and 2.1.2. 2.1.0 was the big one. Loads of additions here. And I'm scrolling down. There's literally like a 50-line entry into all of the updates here. Obviously, I'm not going to go through them all, but the main ones would be support for the new Jade Plus hardware wallet over USB, perform native pairing with the Bitbox 02 to avoid reliance on a previous external pairing configuration, optimizations for Ledger devices, updates to the Lark, which is his USB hardware wallet communication library, which actually replaces HWI. That's pretty cool. Support for PSB v2 and loads of other stuff as well. And then the 2 subsequent releases were mainly bug fixes that cropped up from the master release of 2.1.0 as well. So nice to see him back on the release schedule.
What a guy. What a project.
Speaking of prolific releases, ZEUS version 0.9.5 has been released. Embedded LND, you can now export the seed in different formats so that you can monitor your LND seed in something like Sparrow, which previously was only enabled to be done by BlueWallet. So that's pretty cool. Improvements to lurker mode, so some privacy improvements. And then they've also got 9.6, which also came out, which is just bug fixes again for the prior release.
What is the thing? There's an app that you can use on Graphene where if you're downloading by APK, rather than downloading by APK, it's like some clever app that checks to make sure that you're not downloading something that's not signed by the correct keys and keeps things up to date so that you don't run...
Obtainium.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Obtainium. That's the one. Do you use it?
I do not. I mainly use F-Droid for apps that are not in the Play Store.
Okay.
There might be the odd one or two where I'll just be testing them out and I'm happy to just go and download an APK one-off.
Because, yeah, Seth was telling me about that Obtainium thing because I was like...
It's very cool, yeah.
I was like, mate, you've got some real problems with your app here. I'm just going to go through them with you. Here's some product testing. And I went through a couple of things. He was like, yeah, we fixed that like fucking 6 months ago, mate. And I was like, oh, did you? He was like, what version are you on? And I told him, he was like, yeah, that was like 6 months ago. You need to get Obtainium because you're not keeping things up to date. I was like, all right, I'll fucking ask you about it. All right.
Yeah, no, it's a very cool tool. I should use it, really. I've become a little bit, because my one phone is kind of multifunctional for work and Bitcoin and, well, everything. I've become a little bit more reliant on the Play Store, and I'm happy with the trade-offs that brings with it. But for, absolute kind of privacy and people that only want to interact with APKs and or F-Droid, then Obtainium is a great addition.
Okay.
The ZEUS guys have also got version 0.1 in alpha testing at the moment. There's been 3 alpha releases in the past week. the big additions here, we've got renewable channels. I've got no idea what that means, but it sounds cool. Nostr Wallet Connect client support. That's pretty cool. So ZEUS is entering the fold with NWC. What else have we got? Ability to export your activity as CSV could be useful for those of you doing tax returns, etc. And in the ZEUS Pay feature, you've got the ability to delete addresses as well. Once again, that's in the alpha release. So don't go hunting for it if it's your main daily driver. Seed Signer version 0.8.5 has now made it to main release. We covered this a couple of months ago, it feels like now, when it was in testing. And it's the Spanish release of the Seed Signer UI. So pretty cool.
Nice.
It's the first multilingual release that they've got. And they've also hinted that subsequent releases, is going to be much quicker to do. I presume, they're using Transifex there as well. So cool to see and getting it into even more hands as well. So well done, guys.
Nice.
Envoy version 1.8.6 has been released. A bit of a maintenance release. The ATM Map provider that we used to use for you to browse all of the Bitcoin ATMs in your local area, the service was shut down, so we've migrated to another one that's powered by OpenStreetMaps. Same functionality, just a different provider. We have just updated the Telegram link. Obviously, we've since closed our community Telegram, or closed it to comment, should I say. It's still active for an update perspective, and linked our new community forum, which, if you haven't checked it out, by the way, just head to community.foundation.xyz. And the last one, this one actually came from a user where, since we've had the buy feature within Envoy, we've also had the option to turn it off, but that didn't hide the feature as well. It just made it inaccessible, which annoyed a few people, which is fair enough. So now when you kind of turn off the buy in Envoy feature, if you've got no desire to use it, it just removes it from the UI completely, which makes perfect sense. So if you're that user, thank you very much for your feedback. Bisq version 2.1.6 has been released. This is just a security update to enhance security for buyers and sellers, to ensure they've got a sufficient reputation score. So it sounds like they have found a little bug there.
I used to have a problem with that reputation thing.
Really?
Yeah, I had it to start with, and then there was some glitch, and then we never got to the bottom of it. And then the other thing that Seth was saying to me the other day about Bisq, which I just do there's a little warning that if anyone's listening and using Bisq, if you're using a Bisq token to bring your fees down and whatever else the token does within Bisq, it links all of your trades and all of your transactions within Bisq together. So from a privacy perspective, it's not good, is it, really? And I'd never heard of anyone covering this before. So when Seth said it, I was like, really? Yeah, it's really bad. So just a warning there, like, even if it is saving you some fees, just be careful, because it's already kind of clear that you're doing a trade on Bisq anyway because of the way it's set up. But if you introduce this token on top of it, it's like you're really making yourself potentially a target. So just a little warning there.
Yeah, wow. I've never known anybody use those Bisq coloured coins.
Neither have I, but I just think that people probably must use them. Some people must use them.
Yeah. There is some new features here on this version. New profile card comes in that basically just gives a summary of your trade partner as well, and you can access that from anywhere within the app. And they've simplified or further simplified the create offer wizard. It's now just been consolidated down to 3 steps as well, which is good to see.
Nice.
Bitcoin Keeper version 2.0.1, big release, new design, mini script integration with various hardware wallets. The new design here looks like they've done a great job, and obviously they've added support for mini script integration, which is pretty cool. One of the first mobile apps to do so, if not the first, I believe. So if you have a mini script compatible hardware wallet, of which there's a couple that have them in main release at the moment, I think Bitbox and Ledger, and then everywhere else, if it's available, it's in kind of like a test firmware. So again, tread carefully. This is new stuff. But we've spoken about it before, but they've enabled kind of enhanced multi-sig vaults powered by Miniscript, so that you can do all of the cool stuff like degrading multi-sig and all that sort of stuff.
I love that.
I don't know how deep the functionality goes yet. I believe it's quite locked down. I think they're using something called emergency key vaults. So I think that the Miniscript integration kind of ends there at the moment, but it's great to see that they've started the ball rolling, and I don't doubt that they're going to vastly improve that as time goes on. They've certainly
Even if
started
it was
shipping
just
some.
that, though.
Say again?
Even if it was just that, though, the degrading multi-sig, that is fucking brilliant. That solves a lot of big problems.
Yes.
We covered this on the last one, but like, I'm a really big fan of the idea of it. If it's technically possible and not dangerous, and if it proves itself out in the wild, that is something where I'm like, yes, that's fucking excellent.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it looks like they're at they've in the link that'll be in the show notes, they've got the roadmap here as well. So they've got step 1, which I presume is now, upgraded server key, emergency key vaults, and hardware wallet discounts. The next step moves into time-locked vaults, which is probably what we're talking about. Then we've got step 3, social recovery. Step 4, guardian roles, family wealth management. So got some grand plans. So stay tuned. Yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
Oh, and they've also updated the desktop app version 0.2.0, which basically just adds all of the same support that we've just spoken about, but adds it into the desktop application, which I haven't tried. It's kind of tough to drag myself away from Sparrow, but I suppose there is a differentiator now with Miniscript. I'm sure it won't take Craig long, but...
yeah, we have it done by next weekend, mate.
Yeah, chop chop, Craig. Aqua Wallet version 0.2.7 has been released. Some new features here. We've got a different selection of price feeds. You can set a passcode. You can toggle between Bitcoin price, total balance. Some nice usability stuff here as well. A nice, simple, normie-friendly wallet here, admittedly with some liquid-based trade-offs, but I like the way that they've done their UI and their simplicity. Oh, they've also got new integrations as well with Changelly, which allows you to do swaps for all of that Tether type stuff if you're interested in that sort of thing. Peach Bitcoin app has been released to version 0.5.3, mainly just some bug fixes, remove Firebase Analytics. That's good to see. That's for Google-based notifications. They've increased the fund limits, and they've added a warning to never share your seed phrase. Good advice. Nice to see them continue to ship.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so, well, I say that the previous release was December the 3rd, so it hasn't been that long, but they've been kind of off my radar for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
BlueWallet version 7.1.0, they've added support for importing mini keys. Have you ever heard that term before? Because I hadn't until I'd read this.
I've never heard of that. Is it something to do with Miniscript? Or?
Well, no, it's not. In brackets after mini keys, they've got Casacious coin, Satori coin, etc. So I didn't know they operated on a different type of key, or maybe it's just a different naming structure. Who knows?
How many people are using those still, though?
Yeah, who knows?
I can't imagine it's many.
Well, I guess with Bitcoin hovering around 100k, you might get some early hodlers that have got some Casacious coins that might want to cash out and import the key into BlueWallet. Now they can. Yeah. BitKit version 1.0.9 has been released. They have added a fee weather widget and Bitcoin to fiat calculator. So the fee weather widget, this is a pretty cool concept. It fetches API data on current transaction fees and compares them to monthly and yearly averages and labels fee conditions as favorable, average, or poor, so that you can get a quick at a glance kind of idea of whether it's a good idea to do that transaction you've been putting off for some time. And the Bitcoin to fiat calculator, as it says in the tin, gives users real-time accurate conversion rates between Bitcoin and your local currency. And I believe they show that in a graph as well. Everybody loves a graph. I'm a big fan of their UI. I think I've said this before, but this is a great onboarding wallet. BitKit, the way in which they do it and the speed at which you can get set up is pretty cool as well. So I'm a big fan of their design. LNBits, after 5 years and 8,500 commits, is almost out of beta. I'm using Ben Ark's words here, by the way. They're releasing version 1 in a couple of weeks, which is good to see. One of my favorite open source projects. It's just, for many reasons. Number one, what they enable. Number two, completely open source nature. Number three, loads and loads and loads of different contributors. And basically can turn your Lightning node into a bit of a Swiss Army knife if you have loads of different use cases. So very cool piece of software that it's been, a joy to see mature. And just congratulations to Ben and everybody else involved with version 1 after 5 years.
Yeah, they seem to do a lot. I remember asking Coffee, so what does it actually do? Can you just talk me through it? And he went off with 50 different things. I was like, what does it not do? That's an easier question.
Yeah. I like the summary. I think it was Ben that came up with it. It's basically like WordPress for your Lightning node.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
So there's loads and loads of different plugins, and you can kind of choose your own journey and, add little bolt-ons to your Lightning node that might be a point of sale system. It might be a jukebox. It might be a marketplace. Like there's loads of different stuff, and you can just choose to install whatever you see fit, and it just integrates lovely with your existing Lightning node, such that if somebody uses your point of sale system, or if somebody uses your little makeshift ATM or sends you your Lightning address, it all just is backed by your own node and just happens seamlessly. New release here, very much alpha mode, so don't go lumping any real funds into this one, called Dana Wallet. They've released version 0.4, which it's essentially a silent payments proof of concept wallet. I believe these guys were in receipt of one of the bounties that we talked about at the top of the show. Downloaded it early today. It's a very, very, very basic UI. But, if you want to go and play around with silent payments and just receive quickly, you can do so. But I absolutely wouldn't advise you to do so with real funds at the moment. But again, another project to keep an eye on. Mempal, not to be confused with mempool.space. Version 1.5.2 has been released. So this, for those that didn't hear the first time we talked about this, is kind of like, I guess you could look at it as a mempool.space app that lives on your phone. You can configure it to talk to your own node, and it gives you all of your mempool stats, but in an app format on your phone, just that you can go and query transactions or look at the hash rate, look at the difficulty, see how many blocks are in the mempool, all that sort of stuff. Mempal is an app basically that you can have running locally and connected to wherever you see fit, so that you've got a standalone app to query all of your nerdy Bitcoin stats. Version 1.5.2 has been released with updated welcome screen. They've added hash rate and difficulty adjustments to the dashboard, and they've modified the auto refresh intervals as well, so that you can have it refresh as infrequently or as frequently as you like. Fountain, the podcast app, version 1.1.16 has been released. Now adds support for Nostr live streams, so you can go and watch your favorite live stream. Could be a Bitcoin show, could be, anything podcasting 2.0 essentially that communicates over the Nostr framework. You can now watch those natively within the app, which is pretty cool. And obviously you can have all of the usual bells and whistles that go with that. So you can comment on the live stream, you can boost the live stream, etc. So yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
And they've also added a storage manager as well to allow you to view and delete file storage for audio, video, transcripts, image, basically anything that Fountain is able to store, so that you can kind of optimize the performance of stuff as well.
Nice.
Onto the Nostr shill section, just a short one. Primal version 2.1 has been released. So this is one of the most popular Nostr clients out there, cross-platform, available on Android, iOS, and on the web. It has now added Nostr Wallet Connect support, which is very cool, because previously, if Primal was your daily driver Nostr client and you wanted to zap people, you had to go through their KYC wallet integration, which obviously I was not a big fan of. But they've now adopted the wider Nostr Wallet Connect, so that I can install Primal on my phone and connect that to my Lightning node seamlessly, so that when I hit the zap button within Primal, it takes the funds from my node, such that I don't have to go through all of the KYC junk that was previously there. That is still there, I believe. So if you want the easy onboarding and you want to kind of just use the KYC wallet, go for it. But if you're a node runner, or you have something like Albi Hub or anything like that, then you can connect it directly over Nostr Wallet Connect as well. Pretty cool. Last one of the news, UTX Oracle. Have you heard about this one, Max? I think you might like this one.
Okay, go on.
It's a decentralized alternative to estimating the daily price of Bitcoin. I think this is magic, basically. It determines the price of Bitcoin on any given day in the past. Obviously, it can't tell the future, basically just by looking at on-chain activity.
Right.
And you might think, wait, how the fuck is it doing that? Basically, they just look at on-chain activity and they can determine with a very high degree of accuracy what the dollar price of Bitcoin is.
How?
So UTX Oracle prices are accurate as prices from exchanges. Different exchanges have different prices and therefore different ways to calculate averages. UTX Oracle finds the average using on-chain clusters of payments at round USD amounts. 20, $50, $100,000, etc. This effectively averages all of the prices used by exchanges to make transactions. Current and historical UTX Oracle prices are tabulated below. Link will be in the show notes. There is a comparison table here, and basically the line is identical to the price line of Coinbase.
We were literally talking about this, I think, on the last episode, weren't we? About saying don't use round amounts and how to sort of obscure things. Or maybe it was the episode before last, but it just goes to show it's good enough and people do it enough that this can actually show pricing through Bitcoin's history.
Yep. And to be clear, this is not for the faint-hearted. It's a Python script that you have to run on your computer. But, if you want to run that, you can.
Okay. That's cool, though.
I'm sure somebody will wrap it into a UI eventually. But yeah, it's a very cool concept, isn't it? The fact that you can pull that off.
Yeah, very nice.
And obviously, the benefit here is that if you run that locally and you want to say, I don't know, what was the price of Bitcoin on X day, then you can go and do that just by querying your own node. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, just two final pieces before we round out the show. We've already given a shout out to Expatriotic, who has produced an awesome Ashigaru guide. Again, link will be in the show notes. Shout out to him for that. Very comprehensive, very cool. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to a good friend of the show, Orange Surf, for his work at Mempool Research. Did a very interesting block size report kind of piece of research, which again will be linked into the show notes, looking at the historical size of Bitcoin blocks and then looks at some projections as to how and when they might increase in the future. Very interesting read, very nerdy. Yeah. But well worth checking out. It's a very well written piece. He always produces very high standards of work.
I've been pecking away at him for about 6 months now. Bit of foreplay, trying to get him on the show. Getting close. He's dropping his pants eventually.
Well, now I know that you want him on the show. I'm going to go and peck his head too. You know what you want to do, actually? Just put him in touch with Ben Gunn. He'll relent in about a day. Yeah.
I'll sort of outsource the pecking.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a warning to you, mate. If you're not on the show within the next 2 months, I'm going to release the hound. It'll be a big problem for you.
You have been warned.
Yeah, you have been warned.
Right, mate. That brings us to the end of the show. I have no other business.
Neither do I.
I will see you next week. Does that mean, by the way, let's do some business on air quickly. Does that mean the listeners are getting another show next week? Or are you going to hold it back? Or how's that? I might
hold it back because I'm going away for a while soon, and I'm sort of like trying to stack some shows and get them all edited and ready.
Police finally caught up with you, did they?
Oh, mate, you have no idea. Problems here. But yeah, so we're trying to keep the schedule as normal, I think, but we're going to record it early. But my thinking is that next episode will be less focused on news that's kind of like matters right now in the moment, and it's going to be more of a loose conversation with me and you and maybe Ben and maybe Coffee. So it'd be a slightly different spin on the Bitcoin brief. That's my thinking.
Sounds good. Next week should be easy then. We don't need to say much, will we, if Ben's around?
Yeah, exactly. Ben's around. He'll fill in 95% of it. And then Coffee will have some interesting tidbits that he can throw our way. So we'll just sit with a cup of tea and a coffee and just put our feet up and chill.
Sounds good to me.
Be good.
In that case, I will see you next week. And as always, check out p2prights.org and Free Samurai.
Yeah, Free Samurai. See you next Tuesday.